Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I am delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident kick in the face of the pod, DL. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I feel like I've been kicked in the face. I don't know if I'm a kick in the face.
You sound a bit nasal today. You all right? Are you doing okay?
I hope not. I was in a COVID close encounter yesterday. So close encounters of the COVID kind.
Yeah, so if anyone can tell, we're actually doing this virtually just one more time for the road because there is apparently there's a bit of COVID still kicking around. Who would have thought?
Yeah, there's a risk. Tommy's got a nice couple weeks planned. He doesn't want to risk it. I empathize. I really hope I don't get it. But I was literally in a conference room with somebody who tested positive today.
For like 5 hours or
at
something,
least 5 to 6 hours yesterday. So it was a big room. It was the biggest one we have in the office, but still not liking my chances.
You can keep all that over there, mate. I feel for you. I feel very sad for you that this has happened, but at the same time, keep it. You want to keep it over there? That's absolutely fine by me.
Yeah. But we'll see. I'm going to Melbourne tomorrow, so if I do have it, I'm a super spreader.
Don't kick first. Melbourne off again. God, man, those guys had it hard.
Dude, fuck them. I'm spreading it all. No, I honestly don't think I'll get it. I've knock on wood, I've been resilient so far. So
brilliant. How are you liking our mini Halloween anthology so far, big guy? How are you liking it?
Little preview of today, The Wickerman, which we are 2006. Going to talk about. Is it really that recent? Oh.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. Yes, some of these movies, man, you got to wonder like who wrote what and what they were thinking was what were they going for when they pitched this?
What were you thinking?
Honestly, this one, if I'm being real, was creepier than the other one. It was less. A remake. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a remake of a 1973 film. So for anyone who's not au fait with what we're up to here, is in the lead up to Halloween, we decided it would be dumb and funny to talk about unintentionally funny horror movies. And this is the second of a little trilogy we're doing. So hop back into last week's and listen to Dre at his absolute peak, loving Mark Wahlberg's The Fappening. What a time that was. And this is different, right?
The Happening is tough it's a tough follow, I gotta say.
I was gonna say.
But if anyone's up for the giving it their best and most extra, acting moments, it's Nicolas Cage.
I think we should rank them at the end. Say which is our favorite.
All right, we'll do. Do you think was the Wickerman original highly rated?
That's a very good question. I was actually having a little glance before, and I just watched the trailer for it, and I was like, "Oh, it actually looked worse somehow." It was 1973. What do you expect? But I was like, "Oh, this looks dire," and I started to do a bit of research, what are the differences between the 2006 and the 1973, and I was like, I didn't care about this movie. Why am I putting all this effort in to find this out?
You know what? I've got to say, I am starting to feel the chills, and I'm really worried about this COVID thing. I just literally, I just tried to move my back, and it was kind of painful. And I'm like, fuck, that's a weird back pain. And I remember that's a thing with COVID. You get weird back pain.
It's been one day. It takes at least a week for it all to come through, buddy. I think you'll be fine. You know what's funny, actually? As it is coming up to Halloween, as we are doing our anthology, our work are talking about doing a Halloween themed afternoon, day, whatever it is. And I was thinking, what's the dumbest thing in this unintentionally funny, grand scheme of things that we're talking to? I was like, what would be funny and stupid to do? And I was just sort of Googling dumb Halloween outfits, and the best one that came up was Ken in rollerblades in the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
That came up, and I was like, oh, that would be a good one. It's not scary in the slightest, but it would be a dumbass outfit, right?
I mean, there's a lot of good Ken outfits. The one at the end, the Mojo Dojo outfit. Yeah. There's plenty of Kenergy.
That'd be fabulous
to be had.
Bringing me that Kenergy, big guy. Oh, yeah. I love it. Hey guys, look, if you want to stick around, listen to us banter about a day, working out if Dre's got COVID or not, feel free to. There will be time codes in the description, as always, provided by friend of the show and editing master, Mr. Matthew Bliss, whose details we'll be giving you at the end of the show. But before we start talking about what we've been up to and getting into our main topic, DL, I've got like a really serious question for you. Like, really serious.
Let's hear it.
If you were to give Nic Cage a ranking, let's say a scale, like let's say maybe stars, 1 to 5 of how Nic Cage is in this movie, whereabouts do you think you'd give him?
I mean, dude, he's like about flying off the page, dude. He's very, very extra. It's the most extra I think I've seen Nic Cage ever.
No.
Like the ending, dude. The ending is up there.
Oh, the ending.
The ending is up there.
For sure. So you would say 5 stars. Is that what you're saying? You said this is a 5-star
five like no's out of 5.
The beast.
The beast. Yeah. Dude, so the Wickerman, dude, honestly, I'm looking at the 70s one and it looks creepy. Just the stills.
I mean, this was creepy. But before you carry on with that, guys,
I'm just saying, I'm looking
rate the podcast.
Oh yeah, please do rate it. Rate the podcast. A bunch of Nicolas
that 5-star joke was a bit to ask you guys to please, if you do like what you're hearing, give us that 5 stars, baby. It really helps. You know how algorithms work. We don't have to tell you this stuff. Give us 5 stars. People hear it. And if you like it enough to pass it on to a friend who likes geeky nonsense, that would be awesome too. That's how we get new listeners.
That would be nice of you.
And one day we might have more than one listener. It would be beautiful.
More than
bellissimo. DL, mate, what have you been up to, buddy? What's been happening?
Honestly, I haven't had much time this week. It's been one of those weeks. It's like, you just work your ass off, you do a bunch of stuff, and then you realize the week is flown by. But what have I been up to? The few things I have been doing. We finished the Murdaugh season 2.
The second series.
Finished that. It's only like 3 episodes, so it was pretty quick.
How's that?
Look, honestly, as an American who followed this, I didn't really learn much new. It was more like you get a bunch of people's like takes on things, and that's kind of interesting. But interesting. Yeah, it was. I knew everything. There was nothing new, but it was interesting.
What comes new to the table? Because last time it was predominantly focused on the kids, if I remember correctly, the ones who were there the night.
Yeah, it follows the murder of the dude's wife and daughter, wife and son. The son that dies, or the son that was in that boating accident. If he's murdered, and his mom in the same night, and it follows the timeline of that. Is it
a trial?
It does go all the way through to the trial. It follows like the night of the investigation and then the trial. Oh,
is this doing that classic Netflix thing of the story isn't quite finished still, so they're just dripping more content out?
The story was finished, although there does seem to be more to the story.
Ooh, interesting.
But the story, as far as like an outcome for the mystery, is finished. Yeah. So I was watching that. Yeah.
Wait, so they found out who killed they know who killed the guy in the first place. He was the dude, been a reckless boat driver, but like all that's finished now. There's no going back.
So you're missing a lot. Like basically that first season is talking about like it leads up to the bigger event, which is that kid and his mom was murdered.
Maybe I just can't remember. It's a long time ago.
No, I get it. And they're investigating like who. It's like shocking murder, right? Like they've just both been shot, and so they're investigating that. And yes, so like the main mystery of who did that, I mean, is theoretically solved.
Who done it?
If you've been following the news, So
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, like it's pretty.
It was a pretty famous. It was a pretty famous case.
Yeah. No, it's an enjoyable show, man. Like I remember it was pretty enjoyable. Wow, that's a weird thing to say about a movie.
Yeah, you got issues, dude.
Yeah, probably. Well, we all know this about by now, surely. We've all got little things wrong with us.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a good watch. I thought classic Netflix.
It is
docudrama. It's good, man.
It doesn't quite capture the what's it called? Making a Murderer.
The Mojo Dojo.
Or the Mojo Dojo. Making a Murderer, or like my all-time favorite, the Jinx of those kind of shows.
Oh yeah.
But
that was
it's
fascinating.
It scratches the itch. So I've been doing that. How about you, man?
I've got a couple of cool things this week, actually. I kind of mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, and I meant to come back to it, but completely forgot. But I actually had a no veto week, and if anyone's been listening to the podcast for a while, you'll know that me and the partner, we flip between. She has a no veto week one weekend, the next I have one. It means we get to watch things we want to watch, but also we find similarities and things that maybe we weren't sure about watching. One of the things she chose to watch, oh man, it's like 2 years ago now, and I don't know how I'd never seen it, but it was 21 Jump Street, and it is now one of my absolute favorite movies, like hands down. And it was her no veto week, and I was like, oh,
you've never seen 21 Jump Street, the new one?
I know,
it's
right?
Pretty good.
Had never seen it. Yeah, so that was a dumb story. That was when COVID was just wrapping up and we were allowed to, when you first got into going and sitting in bars and stuff, but you had to be separated from people and you had to book a time. And we'd had some dinner and we were coming back and I bought us a bottle of wine at dinner and she'd only had like one glass and I drank the rest of the bottle, not realizing that she wasn't really drinking. And then on the way back, I bought a second bottle thinking that, oh yeah, we'll share this one too. No, I just drank it all. And I was sat watching 21 Jump Street literally on the floor, just like rolling around laughing. One of the funnest experiences I've had in a long time, just pissed being an idiot laughing at 21 Jump Street.
And the partner's just sober.
Completely.
So she enjoyed that, I'm sure.
She was having more fun laughing at me than laughing at a movie. It was great.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
fair enough.
Getting way off point. The thing we watched this week that was my no veto was that I finally convinced the partner to watch Star Wars: A New Hope. So episode 4, the first one, whatever you want to call it. And interestingly, what you get on Disney, it's one of the abridged versions. It's like the mastered version, I think, that George Lucas has gone in. He's done a bunch of tinkering. He's added a bunch of bullshit.
So it's longer?
It's a little bit longer. It's got a couple of extra scenes. It's got a ton more CGI just baked into it. And it does not look good sometimes. Sometimes you're like, George, man, you didn't need to do that. But,
Like it's worse than the original?
It's just same but different. It's got bits you don't need. There's an extra scene with introducing Jabba the Hutt. There's a couple of other bits in it. It's just unnecessary. But the chassis of the story is still there. And it's still such a good movie. Like, I forgot so many bits in that, like the trash compactor. How do you forget the trash compactor? It has been like 15 years. Yeah, I know, right? It's been at least 15 years since I've watched it, so it was nice to go back, give it a go. I'm gonna try and get her to watch all of them. I'm gonna try and see if I can do it. I'm gonna be like, girl, you can do this. I don't know what accent I'm going for there.
All of them, or just the original trilogy?
Start with the original trilogy and see how we go. Because I kind of want to rewatch the prequel trilogy because I haven't watched them in a long time.
The last one's is good. The first one's all right. The second one is so bad, dude. It's shockingly bad. Although, like, what's his name is good. Obi-Wan is still good.
Yeah. As much as we hate on Ahsoka the other week, go back and check out that podcast. We had some spicy takes on Ahsoka. Yeah, as much as we sort of hated on that a little bit. Actually, no, I said we thought it was all right. It did make me really interested in going back and watching things about the Clone Wars and about those bits and if there's anything I'd missed or, probably not.
You didn't, because it's all retconned. Yeah. But, like, I'll say this. It makes me appreciate Hayden Christensen's performance more. I actually don't think he's bad. I think he's written poorly. And Obi-Wan and what's his name's Obi-Wan is really great. Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan is awesome. Like, he's the reason you go watch that show. Yeah. Or that movie.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I can probably talk her into that. He does look kind of like Jesus in this. So I'll be like, hey, girl.
The mullet.
We're going to watch more Star Wars. Yeah.
The mullet is iconic for sure.
I don't know what this character is I'm bringing to the table today, but he's a little bit greasy. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, like.
I forgot to ask. Sorry. Do you recommend people watching the Murder?
Murder? Yeah, man. Like, yeah, dude. I think, like, if you're an American and you like crime theater, if you are a fan of like the crime kind of series, like it's definitely one of the more intriguing and better ones that I've seen. Nice. It's not as much of a mystery; it's more like a shocking, like what, like that this exists in a part of one of the most developed countries in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the story around it is the most interesting part, around like the family and like
and their friends. The friends are interesting.
Yeah, all of it, all of what surrounds that family is as interesting as what's going on with the murders and stuff. So yeah, totally. What else you been doing, buddy?
Well, the only other thing I really made some progress on was Sex Education, the new season.
I thought you put a pause in there. And I was like,
Sex Education.
I've started doing this. It's really nice.
Yeah, no, it's Sex Education is a phenomenal show, man.
How far are you in? Show. I feel like I watched it with you previously.
It's phenomenal. It's a great show. It consistently is ridiculously funny and heartfelt in all the right ways. Like it's obviously a satire on hey, if everything that we think is, all the minorities were actually the majority or equally represented or overrepresented, and everyone was okay with that and super liberal the way that we're going to be in 100 years or whatever. You know what I mean? how would that, what would that society look like, and how do we investigate, and what would that like tell us about like how we operate today? I think it's a very, very good show.
It's got one of my earliest memories of having a crush on like a celebrity, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. With Gillian Anderson, man, wowza,
yeah, for sure.
Put her in everything.
She still pulls it off. Yeah, she's really well written. There's another girl in this that's like kind of new to the scene that I think you will like as well. She's a very Florence Pugh esque.
Oh, very nice. Pew pew pew.
Yeah, she's got the look. I'll let you watch it, but you know that it's 8.3 on IMDb. I'm not alone in thinking that it's quite good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that people don't like the last season as much as the other ones. That goes to show that like the first couple were like really, really high. Yeah.
So you're not really helping me out here. Like, it's called Sex Education, but what is it about? Give me like some sort of plot.
To be fair,
insight.
We've talked about it. We've talked about it before, but it's basically like a high school drama.
Okay.
Set in the UK, where the protagonist, the main character, is the son of a
John David Washington.
The protagonist. It's actually Otis Milburn, a.k.a.
Is it all going backwards and forwards?
No, it's just straightforward. Not really straightforward. It's trans forward. It's straightforward. It's gay forward.
Of course, yeah. All the forwards.
Asa Butterfield is actually the guy that played Ender in Ender's Game. If you remember that guy. He's the protagonist, and his mom is like a famous sex therapist / novelist about, open sexuality and all that. And so he's actually like been raised by this single mom who's pretty in touch with all that, and has despite himself being very, very sexually immature and inexperienced, he is really good at giving other people advice at his school about, sexuality and feeling normal about yourself. And he kind of just becomes a school therapist with highly, highly emphasizing on the sex stuff, because everyone in high school is all hormonal, and everyone just starts going to him. That's
all you talk about, of course.
Yeah, it goes to him for advice, and it's this big irony because he's like a virgin. But yeah, that's the premise of the show, and it's
wow, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's hard to give it justice. It's more the writing and the characters and the casting, the actors. It's good. It's really, really unique.
I know the partner's been hedging to watch it for a little while, so I reckon we'll probably end up getting that. That sounds fun.
Yeah,
you recommend
it's the final season? Yeah, so it's not too hard to get through. It's like, I think it's going to be 3 or 4 seasons. I think. Yeah, you just burn through it.
How long are the episodes?
They're about 45 minutes. They're longer episodes. It's more of a drama comedy. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, I've done a wildly different thing this week, and going back to movies. I haven't had a lot of time to watch much TV outside of the Wrexham, which has been carrying on in the background. And we did finish David Beckham, by the way. We talked probably most about it last week. Actually, no, did you watch any more of David Beckham?
I didn't, but Gail did. I was shocked. She's got this thing on when I come home. I was like, why did you watch this? I would have watched this with you. She was on
it's one
3.
thing you can watch together.
I know. And I was like, how dare you?
You've got to go back and watch it now.
I will. Yeah, she stopped. I'll catch up.
It's an interesting show. We'll talk about it when you've seen it. But I watched a movie called Operation Fortune, Rules de Guerre, which is a brand new Guy Ritchie movie. It must have only come out earlier in the year and come almost directly to streaming, because I do not remember this being in cinemas at all. Do you remember? Have you even heard of this movie, Operation Fortune by Guy Ritchie?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I saw any previews or anything.
So I think all these recent movies are starting to blend together for me a little bit. Like he's kind of tried to go back to his gangster roots a little bit, but they're all a bit Hollywood now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's back with Jason Statham, who's doing his bold best, and it's got a favorite of the show, Cary Elwes. I never say his name right. Elwes?
Cary Elwes.
Who did Robin Hood Men in Tights. He was in Stranger Things as the crooked mayor of the town. He's great. I love him. He's fantastic. But like, I watched this movie like a week ago, and I cannot remember a single thing that happened in it. I had to rewatch the trailer to talk about it, because I was like, what the fuck happened in this movie?
That's not a good sign.
That's not a bingo.
That is not a good thing.
Yeah, genuinely, it was like a bunch of really stereotypical action movie characters doing really stereotypical action movie things. I was like, this isn't what I remember Guy Ritchie for. Come on, man.
I mean, you can only he's got to find another well to tap.
He's got to find.
You can
something.
only do the same kind of story. Same so many times. You can only tap the same kind of muse so many times. You got to challenge yourself. I don't think he's put himself into a position where he should do a different kind of movie, which I think would help him.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah, I think so too.
You know what I mean? Stretch your imagination away from gangster. Is it a gangster movie?
Yeah, of course. It's like gangster action. Yeah, it's mostly so. Yeah,
there you go.
The plot's around, I can't fucking remember the plot. It's Hugh Grant who's the bad guy, and Josh Hartnett's in it. And for some reason, Josh Hartnett's ironically playing an actor, and he has to get close to this gangster character of Hugh Grant to, I don't know why, he's got the codes to something or something dark side. Yeah, Josh Hartnett's effectively got to get close to him as an actor, not being sort of trained in these things, and like find a way to get his confidence and all this. Like, there's bits of it that I like the idea of, like the inception of Josh Hartnett being an actor in a movie. Obviously not that well executed. If I can't remember a single thing that happened.
How was his performance? How was he? Was it similar to Opie? As iconic?
I rate Josh Hartnett. I think he's great.
It's a bummer he just like disappeared for a decade.
Where's he been?
Or more.
He tried really hard to get into that prestige television, and it just didn't work out for him, sadly.
I don't even think that's what I think. He just like stopped acting for a bit. Surely. He just wasn't in movies for like 15 years.
He was in that, what's the one, 40 Days and 40 Nights. Do you remember that?
No, but when was that released?
Oh, that's classic, like prime American Pie era.
Yeah, 90s, early 2000s. We are in 2023.
Yeah, that's 20 years ago, my man.
Yeah.
He breaks up with his girlfriend and goes on like this thing of like 40 Days and 40 Nights.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
Of nothing, not touching himself, not having sex, all this stuff. And it's got a lot of, early 2000 sensibilities. It's funny. Like, I was having this conversation with a friend of the show, Riggs, the other day. It's the Friends thing. It's like, you watch it back now and you try and put 2023 sensibilities on stuff from 1999. It's gonna look bad.
I mean,
right?
Dude, 100%. And then you like, the funniest part is like a lot of like the younger generation, and maybe yours, also do the same thing to like historical figures. They're like, Columbus was an asshole. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, he was in the 1400s.
Stay alive.
Like, I'm pretty sure like slavery was everywhere. Everyone was assholes by today. Like, it's cooked. Yes, it is true. But you're like, why are you surprised about this? Like, did you see the textbooks in schools? It was terrible. Like,
it was a bad time to be alive.
Yeah. So I just find it funny when people like, if we can pull up tweets from the 90s, I guess not even the 90s, the early 2000s, and people can get canceled, then
we're all
God help Columbus,
Hey guys, look, if there's anything that you've seen that we haven't talked about on the show, anything you'd recommend, we love when you send recommendations. Please hit us up. You can find us at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. Actually, go and check out our website, www.podcastassemble.com. Soon enough, we are going to be getting some friends of the show to be starting publishing some articles for us, which we're really, truly excited about. Friend of the show, Addy from the Film Addicts podcast, is hopefully going to be adding some content there very soon. So please, please, please check it out. Give it a read. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a share. All the things for algorithms. DL.
Yeah.
Do you want to preface our main topic?
Our main topic, as I think I already alluded to.
It's the main topic theme.
There it is the Wickerman.
The Wickerman. 2006, baby.
Wicker.
The bees. Why the bees?
Oh, no, not the bees. Not the bees. Ah! Open my eyes.
Again, a movie in our trilogy that starts, with bees. No, there is a lot of similarities between The Happening and this movie, mainly comedy and bees.
So this is the second part of our unintentionally funny horror movies trilogy.
Yes.
And DL, to kick us off, man, give me that stupid plot summary.
Okay. As the great James Franco, well after this random cameo, once said, or in the future said, they honey-dicked me. Do you know if you know the reference, you know.
I don't know if is that from a film?
Yeah, the honey dicking. It's from The Interview, a very underrated movie because it got like canceled. It was like the first thing that got canceled.
He's been canceled. He's a pretty bad guy, apparently. Apparently, he's not a great bloke.
He's been canceled, then brought back, then kind of canceled again. I I think he has.
Just stay dead, James Franco.
I think he's got some.
There's no need for you right now.
I think he's got some sex issues. He might be addicted. Anyway, the honeydicking is the act of really using seduction or sexuality to, or just seducing someone in some fashion. Doesn't have to be sex, to do something for you, but you have an ulterior agenda, ulterior motive.
Well, that, my friend, is very, very on the nose. Let me give you mine very quickly. Nicolas Cage chases children around a Burning Man, doing his best Ryu impression from Street Fighter, while being haunted by the Inception train that stalks a girl in his dreams. He decides to go trespassing in an Amazon warehouse/island, where the workers are either female middle management or male laborers who can't talk. It doesn't go well.
No, it doesn't go well.
It does not go well.
Like, I didn't even realize, like, they did not tie anything together with it when it comes to all those visions. Like, what? They just forget part of the movie? I didn't even think about that. This is like, in hindsight, like, so the Inception part of what Tommy just said is actually fair. Like, these dream states. He goes into multiple dream states of visions about his daughter that he's looking for. Like, I guess let me start that.
Let me preface the movie in a minute. But, like, the fact that it's just so random. His dreams really want to fuck that poor girl up. It's so sad.
Dude,
like the bit where the train is like on a boat and the train still gets her. I'm like, bro, like, chill out, train.
You mean the truck? It's a truck.
It's a truck, but it looks like the train.
It's like
this
a train.
Is from Neil Laboute, who managed to create one of the most memeable movies of all time, and has got Nicolas Cage and a bunch of other folks who, I'm going to be frank with you, I didn't really know anyone else in this movie outside of Nic Cage.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are like, fuck, they've been in movies, but they're not. Yes. They're not big actresses or actors.
There's a lot of like other guys in quotation marks, like as one of our other favorite podcasts would say. I did recognize the Willow Woodward character. That was Kate Beahan. Beahan sounds like I'm trying to say bacon sandwich in Jamaican. It's not. And that, like, outside of that, though, I didn't really know too many of them. I did love some of the names. I think my favorite was Sister Beach, because she was a beach.
Her voice, dude.
She was a monster.
Her voice is intimidating. So this girl, Kate Beahan, this is like what she's mainly known for.
Yeah, which is weird.
So she's been in a couple other things, but I think she's been in a bunch of CSI stuff, like random,
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she's been in a couple of like TV shows here and there.
Yeah.
So tell me then, what's the plot of this? What are we talking about, Dale? What happens in this stupid
A sheriff or a cop or a deputy, one of those.
I think he's a sheriff.
Municipal titles. What is the difference?
I don't know.
Write in if you know the difference between a sheriff, a deputy, or a police officer. What is the difference? None of us really know. A sheriff basically gets out of the blue, investigates a disappearance of a girl from a small island at the behest of an ex-lover.
Yeah.
Somebody who,
gets weird.
He was dropped by and shit gets really weird. But I guess like this is all after he watches somebody die with like the girl, a girl die. Basically, like the movie starts and there's a car accident with a girl dying, burning. He can't save her, and he's in a rut. He's been taken off the force for a bit as he kind of gets over this traumatic experience. In which case, the inciting incident takes us to this island where he investigates a missing daughter of one of his this girl that he left or that left him a long time ago.
I mean, this kicks off like hard, it's
that
whole
weird.
bit. It's so like, I wrote down the words morosely earnest. It's so earnest.
That's very, very English and very, very accurate. That is a very accurate description.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
It so is. But like, what did you think of this movie? Like, top level. Like, I really want to know. Like, I'm
all up.
Because I was watching it and I was like, I can't imagine you watching this film.
I was watching it and kind of like the first hour, you're just like, can somebody know anything? Like, what do you mean? Nope, not everybody can just look blankly and stare blankly and ask questions that are followed by other questions back. Like,
that was the problem. Everything was
super
answered by a question.
It was so frustrating for the first hour.
And you could see why he was getting angry.
Yeah, it gets a bit creepy, but it's like kind of creepy just because it's like you're so off kilter because you're like, none of this is remotely like legible. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I just like none of it follows.
Are you telling me you didn't see all this coming?
No, of course I saw the ending coming, but it's like
it was so obvious.
The first hour, you're just like, what is going on, and why is anyone pretending like there's a semblance of like any kind of logic here? Like,
and why is Nicolas Cage screaming at everyone for no reason?
Yeah, like, well, I actually empathized with him. I was like, like, you've called me out here, woman, to go find this daughter, and every time I ask you a question, you go, "What? I don't know." Who could say? It's like, you could say. You live here.
Just tell me anything. It's fine.
Any kind of contextual information.
I was going to say, it's like, I was going to make a joke about Nicolas Cage. I can feel his frustration being stuck on an island full of women. He. Where I was like, that's a bit on the nose. But like, it's true. Like, I kept waiting for this to like go from bad. Oh, sorry, should I say? I kept waiting for this to go from so bad it's good to like actually being good, if that makes sense. Like, flipping from bad to good. I just never kind of got there.
No, you were on the precipice of it a couple times. Like, what I would say is, like, I know what they were trying to do with this one, right? Like, I do know what they were trying to do. What I like, as opposed to The Happening, where I was like, what was the goal always to be funny? You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't, you don't know. With this one, I
found weird bits of this funny, though.
No, of course. But it feels like it was more unintentional. Like this one,
because it is just so earnest. I know in The Happening, like Mark Wahlberg is super earnest the whole way through. He is, let's be frank. But like it always felt like it had that tongue-in-cheek delivery to it. Like it was a bit like deadpan. Whereas in this, like he's like so Nic Cage all the time.
Yeah, you know what I realized? Nic Cage obviously watched a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger growing up. Don't you think? Or are they from the same era? I guess they are.
There's definitely some overlap.
I think he was inspired by. Anyway,
so it starts bafflingly weirdly with that car exploding. Like, explain that to me. Like, is that supposed to be a motivation for him? Is that supposed to be
makes no sense?
His grief that's driving him on here?
How can I explain something that has no? He didn't even know these people.
That's our podcast, my friend. That's what we're supposed to do.
You cannot explain the unexplainable. That it makes no sense. That part is really weird.
So Nicolas Cage is Edward then. He's a police officer. He receives a letter from an ex-fiancée, Willow, right? Willow. I liked Willow in this. Thought she was good. We'll talk about that in a minute. Claiming that they have a daughter effectively. I mean, they didn't say it straight away. Called Rowan, and she's missing on some remote island, and they all have to go out and find these mad pagan vibes. So first of all, like, he gets a letter and he takes it to his mate. And why is his mate so aggressively against him pursuing this? Because his mate's like, you better not do that.
I actually thought that was believable, dude, because he didn't know it was his daughter at that point. Like, it would have been much more believable if he knew it was his daughter. You know what I mean? Then he's like super motivated to go there. Why he's motivated to go find this missing girl that he does not know from this lady he hasn't heard of, all because he saw a different girl die? Like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
But to be fair, if you're his mate, dude, I hope you would look out for me. Why are you gonna go to this all halfway across the world?
Dude,
for this chick
can't
you
be that
don't
good.
know.
Like, chill, relax.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant! I like that. It's got like quite small stakes in this. Like, from the very beginning, you're thrown into this weird world where there's a lot of odd stuff happening, and it's actually quite an intense world they built, because Nic Cage gets to this island and it's this like pagan-y, culty sisterhood, whatever you want to call it, and you're just like
culty. You could say culty.
Yeah. Well, because it's so isolated, and the location, like in a narrative sense as well, just creates this almost sense of otherworldliness, and it's weird. It was weird from the moment he got there.
It is, and it's the thing I think that they were trying to do is have this like oddly like slow, creepy build up, but it was.
Well, some of that was fun. Some of that was funny.
No, it was funny, and I think that like some of it was creepy. And have you ever heard of Midsommar?
Yes.
It's an A24. Like, that's the vibe I think they were trying to go for, but it was just too obscure.
They're like, this movie that's coming out in 20 years' time, we're gonna try and do what that's gonna do.
But you know what I mean? Like I think that nailed it. This is what they were trying to do, and they didn't nail it.
Oh, for sure.
It was and it's just kind of like it's just confusing. It's too absurd. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not enough normal. Like you're instantly affronted by the absurdity of it. Like you're like,
you're so right. You need an element of normality to it.
You need it to be just a bit off, something a bit like this is like on the the teeter totter's teetering a little bit. Then it's like, okay, something's a bit weird. This thing, it's a full on hurricane. It's like red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, dude, what are you doing? Get out of there.
He's just walking around with these Kenny from South Park beekeepers, and it's just like,
with just on? Like they're and dude, like, and the chick with like the voice, she's like, get out of here, like right away, dude. Fucking Batman voice,
Scorpion with that Scorpion from
bro. She sounds like fucking. She sounds like Batman Begins. Batman, like, swear to me,
swear to me.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this.
I was gonna make a joke about the ending of this, that Nicolas Cage turns into like Mortal Kombat. He's like bloody. I don't know, Liu Kang. So we can have Liu Kang versus Scorpion, because that happens in this film.
Yeah, it is. The ending in particular is quite a doozy.
Man, the ending. I can't wait to talk about it. Did you notice very early on in this, like, I think to try and add to the already overwhelming sense of weird creepiness, that there were a lot of twins in this? Did you notice that?
Yeah, that was by design for sure. Like, that would have been an interesting thing to just have be there.
That's what I thought was going to come back around. You know how, like, last week we were talking about how we thought the bees were going to be, like, the thing, and, you know, like, something was happening with the bees setting it. I don't know what we thought, but that film was just funny. Whereas this, I was like, it's going to be something about twins. Like, they're going to have there's going to be a twin, or like Willow will be a twin or something, but nah. No, just a weird point for no apparent reason. So I guess then what happens is Nic Cage jumps into this community, is really angry to everyone for no apparent reason, kills one of their beloved bees, and then goes on the hunt for this daughter, right? Rowan, who,
yes,
you know, he doesn't know it's his daughter.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Thomas.
Please.
Hypothetically, if you had an ex from high school reach out to you at around this point in your life that had dumped you hard, right? And with a request of help me find my lost daughter in the middle of, let's just say, Greenland. Let's give a very remote, place. And like, I'm just curious, would you follow the call there? Like, did anybody give you an over the pants hand job that good in high school to drive you to such an OOTP? Yeah.
I mean, Nic Cage in this is full smitten, like the whole time, full smit. No, I'm pretty sure I would probably laugh to begin with. You know what? Actually, that makes me think. So this
I would think it was like a Nigerian prince scam.
I can't remember if I told you this. I had a thing very recently, like within the last 6 months, where a girl, I must have dated her when I was like in my early 20s tops. It must have been when I'd finished university, I'd done a bit of travel, gone back to my hometown, and she reached out, and it mustn't have gone well. And she just like messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, you know, it was really weird how things ended between us, blah, blah, blah. I'd really like to connect again, all this. And I'm like,
I think you did tell me this.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who does that? Like 15 years later, I'm like, dude, like it's gone. It's don't worry about it.
What did you say? Did you respond?
I didn't. Should I? Should I do it live?
You left her on red? Oh man, that's gotta hurt. She really, she was really putting herself out there.
She tried hard, and I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't know you.
Also, maybe you should have responded.
Anyway, why
this could have been
you?
You could have been the Wickerman. This could have been the lead-in.
That could have been me. I could have been the beige. Do you want to hear the message? Is this too rude to read this out? Is this too mean?
I don't think so. You didn't give any names.
All right. Okay. So, hey, Tommy, this is probably so out of the blue, and hopefully you remember me.
Oh man. Did
now,
you?
This is where it gets a bit creepy. She goes, I was going through old diaries and thought quite a lot about you. How are you? It's been quite a few years. I'm not going to read the rest because the rest is a little bit brutal, but it ends with something on the lines of, anyway, completely understand if I don't get a response. I hope I've given you a good enough reason to reach out to me very soon. I'm like, is this the Wicker Man? Am I going to get killed?
I want to know what you skipped. What did you yada yada over there? Anyway.
Well, maybe I'll tell you off air sometime.
Okay. I think you avoided.
I wouldn't. No, I don't think I would. Would you?
Yeah, you dodged a bullet. I mean, you didn't even give her a response on Facebook. What do you mean, or whatever? Yeah, of course you wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying, would you?
You didn't even send a couple terabytes of data or whatever through a cloud, let alone fly to Greenland.
I felt weird enough about the message.
Would I? If it was my...
Did
if
you
I
have
knew
any
I had
handies that good?
No. If I knew I had a child, maybe. So, like, maybe then. That's a real motivation.
I think that would make me want to respond even less.
You would flee? You'd flee and change your number?
I'd be like, exactly, yeah. I'd be like, hey, this isn't the Tommy you're thinking of. So sorry.
Yeah, there might have been a couple OTPs that'd be worth it. I might think about it. I want to go to Greenland. So,
I mean, good for you,
as
buddy.
a vacation destination.
I can't let you do that in all, good conscience, having now seen The Wickerman, where he finds like a bunch of weird pagan style ritual books about burning and all this.
Yeah.
I can't let you do it, buddy. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Did they actually kill the flight guy, the pilot?
The pilot? Yeah, he found him on the beach and he was all like his mouth sewn up and stuff.
What was that about? How did they kill that guy?
He told their secret.
Yeah, I get it.
I actually thought he was like one of the more random people in this, because he was in it for such a short amount of time and he had like a brief window of opportunity to get some lines in this film, but did absolutely nothing with them. He was awful. He was like, this is your chance, buddy.
He was just hanging out. He was just flying loads to and from.
That's totally fair. I guess speaking of that, I'm like, did you not think that the dialogue in this was so weirdly written? Like, all of it was so formal.
100%. That's like the biggest reason why it's weird. It's just like so unnatural.
No one talks like this.
Yeah. Especially like Nicolas Cage was like way too...
He was like formal.
He was one way and they were way the other. I don't know how...
And I think that was trying to make a distinction between him and them. Obviously, they've had this, quiet, sheltered life. They've lived on this island and he's like a city boy, but it just wasn't good.
Tonally, it clashed. Don't you think?
It felt like it was written by someone who had no idea what a city person speaks like.
Not only that, it felt like it was written by someone who was writing a different style movie.
Yeah, completely.
Nicolas Cage's like dialogue and tone of his dialogue was not like, he was way too like, oh, whatever. Like, he was just like, come on, like, come on, guys, give me what I need.
And then he'd just be shouting for no reason.
Instead of being like, a bit like, kind of, what's wrong with these people? Like, like a bit like creeped out. He was just like extra all the time,
all the time, all the time. I think it was. I have a note here, and it just says like, is he having a stroke at this point? I don't think that meant anything, but that was just me jotting notes while I was watching the movie. But like, I feel like it's not giving him any wiggle room to show any of his like charisma and charm. It was like really one-dimensionally written. They clearly had, one thing in mind for that character. And like, I was going to ask you, like, on a scale of like, most Nic Cage, like Face Off to like, I don't know, City of Angels, least Nic Cage, where do you reckon he sits on that scale between like, say, 1 and 5, for example?
Can I just say that I'm not a huge Nic Cage guy? So what movies have I seen on the scale of like...
What I'm saying is this like bulging eyes, or is this romantic comedy?
It's definitely more bulging eyes with like a couple romantic comedy moments.
I'd say it's more like a 3 out of 5. It's like bang in the middle. This is like full Aquaman of Nic Cage's performance.
You know that 3 out of 5 means it's more bulging eyes. 2.5 out of 5 would be right in the middle.
Very slightly, like very slightly more bulging eyes.
There's only a couple scenes where he has like rom-com moments. There's like 2.
I don't mean rom-com. I just mean as in like placid Nic Cage. Like as in he's not going full cray-cray.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll give you that. But what I will say is the only like real Nic Cage movies I've seen are like Con Air, this.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what else. Classic. What other ones are big with him? Like I know he's
Face
in
Off?
a lot of stuff. I never finished Face Off. It was too absurd. No. You know what I did? One of his best movies is The Rock. That's a good movie.
Yeah, great film. Great film. We should do a mini Nic Cage anthology at some point. I feel like you deserve to watch some of them films.
Oh God, I don't know if I want to do that.
I did like Willow in this. I know I've said that before, but
her name is so absurd,
very annoying. But the only character with any sort of genuine intrigue about them, I mean, she answered every question with a question. She was literally the Riddler in this.
I did kind of feel like she was just super dumb. I was like, how can you not have anything to say for so long?
Help him.
I guess you're pretty. Like, thank God for that. Jeez. I was like, Nick, brilliant. What did you see in this woman, Nick? Like,
she's a pretty girl. And he was an older guy. I could see what was going on here. Yeah. I feel like this is pre-hair transplant Nic Cage. Like he's clearly
when did he have? Do you think he had one of the modern ones, or do you think he just like one of those like?
I reckon he got the old school one. Yeah, I reckon he basically got a wig put on his head.
Oof. Yeah, his hair doesn't look real.
No, it's weird, isn't it? You know what it looks like? Have you seen the one with Pedro Pascal and the one I love where
that's the one I'm talking about. I've like his hair looks so weird in that movie.
Yeah, there's a bit where there's like a wax statue of him in that, and the
it looks like
the wax statue looks more real than his hair does.
Yes.
The only thing I can really say that was, fairly impressed about this film was I feel like everyone was like fully committed to it.
Yeah, there was no Mark Wahlberg award in this one.
Yeah, I feel like everyone was fully committed. Everyone was like, everyone knew they were in a weird fucking movie, so they all went, you know what? Let's lean into this.
Yeah, there was no Mark Wahlberg-esque, like, am I really in a comedy or am I in a drama? Like, they all believed
from
they
Boston.
were
Come on, he's from Boston.
Yeah, they all believed that they were in a freaking weird thriller mystery.
That's very true. I would say Sister Summer Isle, who was like the cult leader per se. I thought she was like, downright dastardly. I liked that character. She was fun. She was like basically a swivel chair and a cataway of a bit of Bond villain at times. Her dialogue was so hammy, and all the things she said were like all of the things she was saying to Nic Cage was said with such relish. I was like, you're fucking loving this. You could even be a crazy person.
Yeah. No, I actually thought that like most of the cult leaders or whatever, most of those people, like their roles were adequately creepy. Like they did a good job.
Yeah.
It was just like Nic Cage's reaction to them and like interactions with them and like extreme up and downs, like kind of just pulled me out of it, along with like Willow's just absolute idiocy. Like she was just like so uninformed about everything. I was like, you're not believable.
Or intentionally holding back the truth, maybe, DL.
Yeah, but like, I guess if that's the case, there's not enough of a natural reaction from Nic Cage for me to buy it. Like, I'm like, dude, why did you come if this is the type of person she is? Like, I would have turned around, dude. I guess like I didn't buy their love because like that's I guess the thing that makes him come. Yeah, like
I'll give you that. I guess the story then progresses. Nic Cage is trying to find the daughter. He's doing all this weird stuff, going to the former school, going to all these different places. Willow's not helping.
Exactly.
Really at all.
It's like, what the fuck is her purpose?
And he thinks he's found her. And this is the bit of the movie that clicked me. And I was like, it's a real creepy moment. He goes into this underground. I don't even know what it is. It's like under a weird altar. And it's
flooded,
all, like
catacomb.
Chained up. And he gets in the water. I'm like, mate, what is wrong with you?
Big time.
Were you drugged at the beginning of this film? Like, are you okay?
I thought he was. I thought the mead he drank is actually like a hallucinogenic. That would have been interesting if they explored that. Because otherwise, nothing makes sense.
Explore anything in this.
Yeah.
I was like, there's got to be something you're gonna like explore in here at some point. But then she still saves him. I was like, why? Like, why are you saving him for?
Yeah, I agree.
I guess he had to burn. I suppose.
I guess like, yeah. That is a thing. Like, how much of this they're like, oh, it was all designed, but like, how much of this like didn't need to happen? Most of it.
Oh, so little.
You know what I mean? So like, I feel like they needed to have a better explanation of like why they strung him along for so long.
Or just like, like when he goes to bed on the first night, like, knock him out. You know what I mean? Like,
like
so many easier ways.
I think that's part of the ritual, but like they didn't really explain that.
No. And it wasn't really a ritual.
Yeah, well, they needed to define it more to make it make sense for him to be like allowed to explore around. You know what I mean?
It was like priming their meat.
Yeah, exactly. There needed to be more explanation for why he needed to be primed.
You said a minute ago, like the first half of the movie. I'd say more than the first half. I'd say the first hour more of the movie. Nothing fucking happens.
I almost fell asleep.
So dull.
I had to watch it 3 days in a row. I kept falling asleep.
Unbelievable.
I did. The interesting part though is like one interesting part that we didn't talk about is the males, like how they're all like dim-witted or like what are they?
I couldn't tell that.
They didn't explain that. They should have. That would have been an interesting thing to explore.
Well, it sounded like when old mate Sister Summer Isle,
Sister
Summer Isle, is that how you say it? I don't know how you say it.
Man.
She wasn't explaining that the men are just there for procreation. So they're just literally kept so they can breed. They're almost.
She did explain that, but it's
mares.
like I kind of want to see that. Like, don't tell me about that.
You want to see them?
Yes, I want to see them being bred.
Jay, just watch porn, mate. It's like, right
let Nic Cage like uncover that. Like, like that. Like,
there is an interesting scene where he goes. So we're getting towards the end of the film here. He's like trying to chase back, find Sister Summerisle again, and he goes into a house and bursts down one of the doors, and there's just like a weirdly deformed dude.
Yeah, that had no relevance though. Like,
is that what it's saying? It's like it doesn't matter what they look like.
Idea.
They're just there for breeding,
I guess. But like, no, she's like, we need the best like DNA.
You'd think that though, wouldn't you?
Didn't she say that? She's like, we need the best stock. You're telling me that guy's the best stock? I go, what, dude?
Sure, they can get better stock
again. Like, maybe that is what they want, but like, maybe explain that. Like, I don't know.
It's interesting because like that's almost like a bit of a jump scare, and there's a few in that exact moment where like he bursts down another door and it's a woman covered in bees. The weirdest thing I think I've ever seen.
I actually like must not have seen that.
Oh man, it's
she's just covered in bees inside.
Yeah, she's sat on a chair, basically naked, just covered in bees. I mean, they're obviously bad CGI bees because everything in this is bad CGI bees. But
interesting.
It's it's not. It's weird. So what I'm trying to get at here is that the comedy, the horror in this, like I found almost offensively boring. Like they got to a point where they're doing like double jump scares. There was a bit where he fell asleep on the pier looking for the aeroplane, the guy who's flying the aeroplane.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and he jumped into the water and the girl was dead. And he wakes up and the girl's in his arms and she's dead again. It's like, this
that
is
part
offensively
was funny,
dull.
bro. That part was so funny because he's just like, "Oh my God damn it!" And you're just like, "What is?"
He hits those highs of Nicolas Cage for a split second.
Yeah, exactly.
I enjoyed that bit a lot. That was pretty funny.
Like he's just so frustrated. He's not even scared. I'm like, if that happened to me, I'd be a little bit more than just like, "God damn it."
I think that literally leads into the best bit of the whole film, and where the unintentional comedy genuinely starts is when Nic Cage decides he's going to chase around this entire village, literally just chasing children, which sounds a lot worse when you say it out loud.
And he's just knocking off their masks.
Yeah, he's knocking off their masks.
Come here, give me your mask.
Yeah. But then, like, he gets in a fight with Sister Beach and just, like, leathers her in the face. Dude. It's so good. And, like, some of the kicks he does in this, oh my God, it's so good. I was like, oh, he just Ryu kicked her in the face. It's fucking hilarious.
The best part of the movie is when he punches her in the face. And I'm not a misogynist for saying that. It's
almost
so
like
random.
He just gives up. He's like, fuck it, this is happening. Bang.
At this point, but you're kind of like, it's cathartic.
Yes.
It's
can't get an answer.
It's cathartic to watch him just suddenly become like, I'm Bruce Lee on this farm. Like, all you people are about to learn the art of the dragon. And he shows them all.
I really want to see him in a kung fu movie. That would be hilarious.
But there was like creepy bits where just like random like ladies were just like on the side, and I would have like jump scare punched them as well on accident. Like you'd be like walking through the woods and they'd be like, "Hello," and I'd be like, "Left hook."
It's just your reaction. Yeah. It's like Joey from Friends. You just react like that. You just throw a punch.
Yeah. Well, what else happened? I don't even know. What else can we talk about with this one?
We get to the climax of the film. They're going towards one of these pagan festivals, and effectively Nic Cage has stolen Sister Beach's outfit, which is like a full bear outfit, which, by the way,
is also why it's just so amazing. Comedic, dude. But it's
so unnecessary. And then he basically finds out that, yes, the daughter is going to be sacrificed in quotation marks. So he tries to save the daughter. And my favorite scene in the whole movie is that in a bear outfit, Nic Cage just runs up to a random lady and punches her in the face. Just like bang. And she crumples. And then, it's so good.
In the, like, what is it called? In the Bigfoot style outfit. It looks like Bigfoot's just running around and just all of a sudden punches this lady. The crazy part is that we just like are like, I'm expecting the girl to be dead. right? Aren't we all at this point?
Oh, interesting.
What did you think? I was just so confused by that first scene in the movie. I was thinking she was dead the entire time, and I'm wondering.
I was thinking either she was being held hostage somewhere, or that it was something to do with twins. The twins thing kept freaking me out. Every time I got over my twins thing, there was another twin there.
That's fair. I was kind of just wondering though, like why he was expecting her to be sacrificed the entire time. Because
they'd had a bad harvest or something. They'd had a bad harvest, and it was her fault.
But she'd already been dead. Like he'd already seen her burn. So I was like, they kept like, they seemed to infer that girl in the beginning was the same girl.
Oh, so you thought that was thing? No,
I was so confused.
Thought that too. And then when you look at her, she looked very different. I think because he kept like finding like he dug up a grave and she wasn't there. He kept like finding things that were indicating she might still be alive. He kept having those weird flashes where like, you know, you'd hear a kid running outside or whatever. I think it was just like him having a mental breakdown.
No, well, he keeps popping pills, so I thought maybe it was that. But the part that confused me the most, why would they do all this? Like he's like suspecting that they're gonna do this in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, why would he expect that? Of course they wouldn't.
It's all completely unnecessary build-up.
Yeah.
Like just put him in the Wicker thing and burn him. Like it's coming. The ending of the film is like the little girl's in on the act too, and she runs back to the cult and they burn Nicolas Cage. Did you see the thing I sent you on YouTube? Because the version we watched was the cinematic version.
Okay. I was gonna say, why did I have to watch that scene twice with it dubbed?
Because there's an uncut version where in the uncut version you see them breaking his legs with a hammer and then putting the iconic bees thing where they put the hood on him. Because I was waiting for that hood moment, the bit that everyone memes about and everyone talks about, and it just wasn't in the film. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it turns out that the funniest part of the whole film isn't actually in the cinematic release. It's in the uncut version. So we had to, it's on YouTube, like whatever.
I watched it.
And it was utter nonsense. And then
my legs!
He's allergic to bees. Wasn't that in your head the whole time as well? I was like, man's allergic to bees, and he keeps walking into fields full of bees.
And they brought him back to life. They stung him just to bring him back to life?
Multiple times.
What was the point?
Multiple times.
Also, she says, like, we did it the old way earlier. What is the old way?
What did that mean? Yeah, what is the old way? Tell me the old way. So I guess the only other thing to mention, it literally, is that, did you see those CGI bees? Did you see how fucking awful they were?
Better than Jabba the Hutt, but pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
They were literally terrible. Literally awful. DL, do you have any tones or themes for this movie before we shimmy on?
That's a great question. I guess, like, if there was a theme, it would be don't get honey-dicked. Basically, you know, don't just fall for a pretty face. Make sure there's more to it, you know?
Very true, my man. Oh, yeah. Never a truer word. There is definitely, like, a theme in this about, hear me out, about women and power. Like, I couldn't tell from watching this if the writer was like pro-feminist or if it was like the ideological ramblings of like a crazy misogynist dude. Like,
I think more the latter.
Fluctuated wildly.
It wasn't very clear if they did have that as a goal for the theme.
Yeah.
What they were trying to
There weren't many
say.
clear goals in this.
No, but I get your point. They did kind of mess around with that, you know, with the whole backstory of the tribe.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But the main thing I took away from that was like, are they witches? They're like, we fled Salem. And I was like, okay, so I guess they're witches.
There was something about that. Yeah, the whole pagan thing as well. It was, you know, was there a mystical element in it? He did keep having these dreams about the girl. Probably not. It was probably just nonsense. He was probably having a mental breakdown. But I think that isolation was like one of the key themes for me as well. And that like almost conformity for the sake of conformity within that community. It was very odd.
Yeah. Did you ever, I heard a rumor that, not a rumor, just that more research is showing that the Salem witch trials were a result of like the wheat having gone bad and like ergot forming in the wheat, and like everybody was just hallucinating, and that's a big reason why they just burned a bunch of
That's
people.
fascinating.
It's pretty crazy to say, and laugh at because it's a while ago. You shouldn't. Someone died. But
I saw a thing that was saying that one of the reasons why witches are portrayed with like pointy hats and having cauldrons is because that's how they used to create beer. And it was around the time of like all the Salem witch trials and stuff. And one of the ways that some males might try and get rid of competitors with better brews than them was by saying, "Oh, they're a witch." And once you're called a witch in those times, it's pretty much a death sentence. So like that then was associated, that look of the people who were brewing the beers, having that look. Isn't that fascinating?
It is. Yeah, there's a lot
All right,
going
then.
on there.
What we do now is we like to give our 3 best and 3 worst, which is 3 reasons why you might want to watch this movie and 3 reasons why you might not, like unintentional humor aside.
Yeah.
It's a little bit dumb, but we like doing it. DL, what are your 3 best and 3 worst?
I mean, if you like Nicolas Cage, you'll like this movie. Like if you like any version
Nicolas Cage, that's my
of
first
Nicolas
one.
Cage, yeah, you like this movie. It is interesting to see a movie like this that like you could see what they were going for, a creepy kind of like most of the movie for a horror movie is in the day, you know, like it's not like at night. So like that is an interesting, you know, this is all, if you liked Midsommar, you might just watch this to compare like maybe this is what inspired it, you know, like I could make a better movie than the Nicolas Cage The Wicker. Like I can make that movie. And then my third one is there's a really great peak handsome James Franco reference for anyone, or cameo for anyone that's interested at the end of
very
this.
Young James Franco.
Yeah. Who's the other guy? The other guy's like a 90s star as well.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Place him.
I saw him and I was too blinded by the James Franco appearance for no reason. We didn't talk about that either. So there is a post-credit scene to this where James Franco pops up and after Nicolas Cage dies and burns alive in a Wickerman. We should have said that's what happens to him.
That is, I mean,
it did.
He should have seen it coming, you know.
It was always coming. Oh, it could have been the bees. It could have been the bees. Anyway, Nicolas Cage's former fiance and one of the other girls go back to the real world to try and, what do you say, honey dick? Some
new single lads.
Contestants. Yeah. So it's a very odd ending and a weird way to end with just a buzzing going on. But yeah, I also had for my 3 best, 3 worst, Nic Cage be Nic Cage. Like, gotta do it. Man's a legend at it. I thought there's a good idea in there somewhere. I think other films have done it significantly better, but like I do like that isolation vibe.
Same.
I think it's interesting.
I think we had a similar one too there. Yeah,
absolutely. And just the scene where Nic Cage is dressed as a bear and just punches a woman in the face. I just like I couldn't get past that. I was like, this is, and the scene where like the girl in the bar like jumps on his back and he's just like trying not to hurt her, and then he's just like, screw it, sidekick like, in the face.
Bruce Lee's I loved that too. I thought the acting where he's about to go get burned is actually a bit, you know, emotionally frightful. He's like, oh my God. I believe that he would be freaking out.
Really?
There. I did like that part.
I just thought he was just going full Nic Cage.
I mean, he was, but there was a couple moments where it felt real to me that he might react that way.
More power to you. I wish I could have seen that too. What are your worst, buddy?
My worst is probably the same thing as my best. Nic Cage is a little too Nic Cage at times.
Leaning into it. I love it.
There's that. I'd say the second one is just like the amount of just plot holes. Like not even plot holes, just things that they didn't really finish.
Yeah.
It's not a plot hole. It's just like it's more like a abandoned plot. You know,
abandoned plot beat.
Isn't that fair? It's like an abandoned plot line. Yeah, like there's a lot of those. And
plot holes, plot beats.
My third is I don't know. I just didn't really buy the main actress. She's pretty, but the wife.
Oh, I liked her.
I know you did. I guess there was just the writing. They needed to change some plot moments to make her be more believable to me.
Sure. Oh, I mean, like if she'd have given him anything, like
any reason why she fled,
you'd have been like,
have the daughter be actually, you know, known that it's his early, like that's more motivating. The plot just was missing some just like basic changes. Yeah, it's like could have done quite a bit for it.
All right, very quickly then. Mine are the CGI bees. My God, they were bad. And he's going, they're in my eyes, and they're clearly nowhere near his eyes. The lazy jump scares, jump scares don't scare me. Like this had potential as like a psychological thriller. And I felt like there was something there to go after.
Yeah.
And lazy jump scares, man. The double dream in a dream sequence. I was like, man, come on, you're better than this. It wasn't better than this. It was too stupid to be. And just all of the plot. Yeah, the plot was the main thing for me.
There were just some big missing pieces. Yeah.
Yes, there absolutely were. So what we do now is we're going to talk about our rating system. But before we do, let me ask you, DL, can you guess for me what the IMDb score is?
The IMDb score on this one is sub 4 for sure. It's got to be like a 3.8.
It's 3.8, baby. You got it.
Really?
Yes. Yes,
oh,
it
love
is.
That for me. Love that for me.
And I personally think that is very kind. Can you guess for me then the Rotten Tomato score?
22.
It's 15.
15. Shocker.
It's not good. And finally, our classic Letterboxd, which is for every other normal film, is 3.6. But can you guess me what it is for this?
I'm going to go in the middle of my other two guesses. 28.
Oh, it's not. It's 1.9.
Or 2.8, I guess is what I was going to say. 1.9. Wow.
Yeah. Real not good scores for this. Do you want to explain our classic rating system?
Yeah, we don't rate films on 10 wickers or 5 wickers or Nicolas Cage at his absolute hammiest or his most subdued. We rate it on if it was better or worse than a movie called Aquaman 2018, which is a pretty average movie. So it's a good
the
way
most
to say,
average movie we know.
It's a good way to say, like, hey, is this above average or below? Well, yes or no?
What do you reckon, DL?
No, this is not better. Is it not better?
Think it's worse? Why do you think it's worse?
Why is it worse? I don't know, man. At least Aquaman is. I don't know. It's just there's at least some action sequences, like, and I guess there's a plot. Like it does make sense, even if it's an absurd plot. There's an obvious play on a throne. It's something I can get behind, medieval a bit, but I understand
fair.
that. You know, I just didn't understand what was going on here.
I thought the unintentional funniness of it, like, was the only saving grace. Up to the point where he started kicking and punching people, I was like, all right, yeah, this is funny, but nothing else in this was good. Like, nothing. Yeah. His motivations, anyone trying to look anything other than confused, that was the standard look in this. It's
confused, but also nonplussed. Like, you're the one that's telling me you lost your kid. You should be a bit more worried about this. Why are you so like
upset?
They all kind of seem zannied out.
They all had that Zooey Deschanel look from the happening from last week, if you remember. Maybe they'd all taken a bunch of Xanax beforehand, but yeah, it was.
Or the breeze caught up with them. Yeah,
it wasn't better than Aquaman. Unfortunately for me, it was definitely worse this week.
Yeah, it is.
But DL, then let's wrap up. Do you want some true or false trivia?
You know, I think I do. I want to hear about what went on this set. Give me some nuggets.
Brilliant. All right, so. Although the film was a critical and commercial failure, it actually went on to gain a cult following. Is that true or is that false?
It's obviously true.
It is true because of Nicolas Cage's ridiculous acting and people saying that it is unintentionally funny in quotation marks, hence the reason for this fantastic anthology we're doing right now. So yes, that is one for you, dear. Second one, true or false? Winona Ryder turned down the role of Willow in the film. Is that true or is that false?
True. She seems like she would be creepier.
She absolutely would have been, and she turned it down for the reason she, quote, this is all IMDb trivia, by the way, so this could be absolute nonsense, but apparently she hated the script. And I feel like good for her.
I mean, she's smart. Yeah, she's a smarter actress, to be fair.
Smart egg. Yeah, exactly. True or false, dear? Much of the dialogue, perhaps over 80%, I love this, is word for word the same as in the original Wickerman from 1973. Is that true or is that false?
False.
It's actually true, but sometimes they change the context, which I find baffling.
That means they used the same words but took it out of context? So why?
gave it different... Look, man, I have no idea, but ultimately I found this movie a really hard watch. Like, it only got funny in the last, like, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, tops. So, like, it was good, had fun with it, but I don't think I'd go back to it.
I definitely would not. I kept falling asleep. I mean, maybe as a sleep aid.
Fair. Maybe you're just a tired boy.
Yeah, as a sleep aid, I will watch it. As a sleep aid.
All right, John, where can I find us?
They can find us at thepodcastassemble@gmail.com or podcastassemble on Instagram.
My man, let's wrap this shit up.
To wrap it up, well, thank you, Matthew Bliss, for editing and mastering this week's episode of many mic drops, headbutts, and water clinks that you will find.
Undoubtedly master out.
I apologize. If you'd like to hire someone to edit your podcast, head to matthewbliss.net and book a podcasting consultation today. If you want to hear his work, I would actually recommend you check out his pod, From My Home to Yours, expat pod, about kind of moving around, new experiences, big life experiences, big changes that Matt and his partner record. Is it weekly?
I think it was weekly. I think they've taken a minor pause, but they'll be back, baby. It's a very wholesome podcast.
You've got time to catch up.
Yeah, go and check it out. It's different, and I think while you're there, you should, because you're just in-app anyway, you should, just like us, give Matt's podcast 5 stars. Give us 5 stars while you're there too. We would really very much appreciate it for all this nonsense that you have to put up with from us. If you've got this far, you should be doing that anyway. You can do it right in app. You can do it in Spotify. You can do it in Apple. You can do it anywhere.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for sticking with it, guys. We really appreciate it. DL, tally-ho.
Tally-ho. Until next time. I'll see you, Tommy. Later.
Gators.
Gators. Bye-bye.
Give it a thumbs up. Give it a share. All the things for algorithm.
Yeah.
Soldier boy, tell. Hey, I got this new damn for y'all.